Hi, you guys. I'm really just talking to myself. So, hi, me, because there's nobody here. But that's okay because the videos will make their way around after that. You guys might not recognize me today because I put on makeup. Um, I just kind of did it to make myself feel better. Um, because today's video is not really going to be about the investigation. Because of all the wild revelations and all the stuff that I get told, and because of the way that, if there are really people faithfully watching this channel, that's wonderful and thank you. But what I mean to say is my goal is not to just have a popular YouTube channel. And even if it got popular because of what I'm trying to do, because of the truth of who the one the world knew Prince Rogers Nelson to be, the creator, Hashem, our one true God, you guys, it's been, I tell it in my videos, but if this is the first time you're seeing a video, well, welcome to the truth. Adonai Elohim Emet, the God of truth. Emet, it means truth in Hebrew, the original language. So, because I myself have so many experiences that I want to share, I come here and I get all tongue-tied and I try to lay out the scripts and do this and do that, but I know it's exposing a lot of things on the investigation. I know that I say that I know because they were revelational to me. It's not, in a non-humble way. It's just to say that I can trust and believe that the things that you guys are hearing on the investigation tip are blowing your mind, because to think that the whole world could be sold on a lie of this proportions is a trip. So anyway, the title of the video is probably a little strange to some, but if you keep up with the videos, maybe not. On the board back here, you can see it says Prince, because if you remember the way that the name is written, say on the sign of the times, it's the P.R.I.N., and then it goes over in like a small e and or small n and e. My name, Pride, P.R.I.D.E. So if you took the small n and c, you can see that the difference is very little. Okay, I'll just leave it to your imagination. Now, what I also want to show you is no coincidence. It has to do with who I am. And again, I'm trying to discover that too. If you remove the R and the D, you're left out of pride. You're left with P.I.E. 319, 314. The pi equals 314 equation. Am I making something out of my last name that doesn't exist? No. Also, follow along. If you take R all the way over, I all the way over, D all the way over, and E, you have the ride. That's me. And also, if you rearrange those words and use the upside down gematria, even though there's major glare there, you would have RIDF, which is the RFID chip. It's the way that it works, amongst other things. And that's why the dilemma we find ourselves in now ends with an ID as well. There's no coincidences in this world. People have been led to believe that there are, but there aren't, because it's all been grandly designed, not without some hiccups, to say the least, but even hiccups have their purpose, from what I understand. When I had my life after life, you guys, I'll say again, I've said before and I'll say again, I didn't expect to stand there and see, like, I know that there's people out there in the world that will write me off as saying, so she died, okay, and she saw her life after life. Some will say her DMT exploded, she did this, she took what she wanted out of her life, her this or that, and met and saw and made prints in her mind. But no, that's not what happened at all. Because first of all, when you're dead, you're not in control of what's going on. You aren't really in control at all, even though you think you are. You're not. But your physical is in control. You know what I mean? When you're here in the physical and your body's moving and hands are working, jazz hands, and stuff like that. But you are not plugged in without your creator. You are just not. You're just not. So I didn't expect to be standing there and meeting him. And as I try to contemplate it and it's not always readily available. So just know that my awe was, as I explained in the header to my YouTube channel, he showed himself to me as Prince Rogers Nelson, as an ancient white being, as a king in a throne chair. Anything and everything that he wanted and needed was brought about with the hands and holographically. And it was explained to me, like I said, even though I can't reach it all the way, uh, is that, like, here I am sitting here now. You're sitting where you're sitting, but our souls that are inside us that make us all so unique and so individual, they're truly attached in a twin sort of way. And this is what I was shown. I'm not guessing here. Uh, in a twin sort of way, to where you're here in your physical, and because there is this curse, if you will, of the skin, of the vessel, of the separation from the creator, which is our vessel, our flesh vessel, our earth suit, us. That is where we live, in separation from the creator, and no more than that. So when you want to find him, you don't need to go waltzing into a brick and mortar. All you need to do is look within, because that's where your soul is, because that's the soul he created and that he gave you. I was listening to my Rabbi talk, Rav Jor, and he was saying that there are people out there that might not have heard this message coming out of my mouth before. And that's nothing I take lightly. Listen, my search to find God before my life after life, before anything, it always went hand in hand with the Prince music, like only I didn't know it. Is explained to me that it all makes sense, and every single thing that I experienced in my life was because everybody's soul. Let me say that again. Let me back up. My drink messed me up, and so did my own thoughts. He showed me when I was there my soul and what it was capable of doing, because of what it was attached to in a lineage sort of way, even though I can't remember it. And yeah, speechless. I don't have words for it. And so I don't want to drone on too long about that. But what I do want to say, you guys, is my whole life I grew up. Well, I do want to tell you a little bit about that, but I want to tell you something else first. I never could make a family tree when I was at school. And I'm kind of academic, if you haven't noticed. But I could never make a family tree, really, because nobody's, I had my mom and dad when I was a kid, and my mom's side until people start, passing away. And then dad's side went, half crazy and this and that. And there's, so you just never know who's who. And my dad never knew who his father was. So long story longer, I could never make a family tree, nor could my children, 4 of them, ever really make a good one in school. And I always had to write this stupid little note in school. And it was always just kind of embarrassing. But anyway, there's worse things in life, white privilege problems, right? I'm not white. Anyway, I did some research. Actually, my cousin did some research, and I looked at her family tree on Ancestry.com. And come to find out, you guys, I don't know much about it. But my great-grandmother is of Jewish German descent. Her mother and father are even more so, last name Miske, Misk. If you change out the K with the C, it would be more like music, because vowels are interchangeable, which I find truly interesting as well. Anyway, I had it written up there, but I erased it. So anyway, they were born and bred from the province of Posen in Prussia. In the 1865, and then came over this way and had some people in Ionia. My great grandma Klein, she passed when she was 91. I think, I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly, that those people, some ancestors that way, probably went back that way. And then I have this other name, Pride, from the paternal side. I think, even though we're not really sure if that was my dad's last name or not. So, welcome to my non-family tree, to the greatest family tree ever, actually. So after that ramble, like I said, or maybe I didn't, this video won't be for absolutely everybody, you guys, but, you know, I got to thinking back when I had time and I would look at various YouTube channels and things like that in my quest for knowledge. If I found someone that I enjoyed watching, someone that was quite obviously speaking truth and off the top of their head and not here for any other reason but to introduce you to your true creator. It's so big, you guys. I kind of have to goof through it sometimes and I can't help it, but I don't know. I'm going to share some personal things with you today because, as I said, what I really want to do and what they asked me when I was in the heaven place was what I wanted to do. And I kind of just gave a blank stare, I think, because I never really had time to think about what I wanted to do because I was always too busy being a young mother, and doing all the other things that I had to do. So I'm going to read a little bit and fill you in a little bit as we go along. But again, these readings that I'm doing, they're things that I've typed up as I've tried to figure my way through this whole ride. And sometimes I feel like my words come out more eloquent when I'm writing. Sometimes they come out, either way, they're true. And I don't know what I'm going to read. I don't have time to go back and read through all this stuff. So if I pause, but at least they're typed up so I can read my own writing. Yay for that. So I'll just jump right in and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And I'm sorry I don't have a lot of time to read the comments on the side because you would be watching a big old scatterbrain if I tried to do that and keep up. But if anybody has a question, I would love to answer it. Even if it's investigation related or whatever, I'll answer questions. I just don't have time to, do all that in reads. Forgive me. This one says P.I.E.N.C.E, watching Purple Rain in a dark theater. Not just watching, but feeling that smile, that sexiness, the swag, the confidence and brattiness that is the kid. I assumed every female in the world felt the same palpable desire to have him. I assumed every female wanted to be Apollonia the way I did. I haven't read this. Sorry, I'm going to giggle. Giving the guitar, receiving the silver hoop, purifying in Lake Minnetonka. Oh my. And having P.I.E.N.C.E pull the ultimate in fun and sexy moves by pranking me with the bike. Yes, that was where my brain lived when I was 13 and still. I would rush home after school to see, I'm going to read it, but I would rush home from, sorry. It's embarrassing, you guys. I would rush home after school to see the Baby I'm a Star I Would Die For You MTV combo. They used to tell you in the TV guide what time it would be on. My life would return to normal when I turned on the console television. I turned it up as loud as possible and danced all my cares away with the sexiest man alive. That combined performance, I remember, engaged me because of the energy early on. I cannot tell you how many complaints we got from that neighbor, but it was cool. It was short-lived. Being a youngster with no money for things, I cherished my Purple Rain album and When Doves Cry poster within. I likely would have worn out the record needle, alas. Funny thing is, my dad was famous for telling us kids not to touch his stereo. My dad said that too in real, like this reality of a life. He would say, don't touch his stereo, but we could if he was right there, but whatever. It was always music, yay. Blah, blah, blah. Crashing mentally into 1987, signing the times on a cassette tape ruled my household. We had so many house parties with that tiny boombox, you guys, and I don't mean a big boombox. It was like, how big is my computer? It was probably 18 inches, and that sign of the times tape, house parties, y'all, housequake. Seriously. And then I said I took that tape with me when I was lucky enough to ride in a friend's car that had a cassette player. Yes, it happened. By 2013, I had attended all 6 of my live Prince concerts from Love Sexy in 88 to Musicology in 04. If you're interested, I got to see Love Sexy was first in Cincinnati, and I always get confused. I say it on all my videos, 5 or 6. I'm pretty sure it was 6 because one I saw twice. I saw the one where he did My Name is Prince. I don't know the name of the actual concert, but the one where they do Blue Light, My Name is Prince. Love Sexy, Musicology. I saw whatever one was around in 97 or 98. And then you know what? I saw the other one at Pine Knob in Detroit, the same one where he does My Name is Prince. I saw that one twice, I think. Or maybe he just did the songs. I don't know, because now I'm really confused. So I was blessed in a major way, living in Lansing, Michigan, driving to Cincinnati with 3 of my friends to see my first Love 60 concert at 18. And we played euchre on the way there, and it was awesome. It was amazing. And I mentioned before, a friend, he snuck a camera in, had some pictures. I've lost them, but neither here nor there. There's that little piece. All right. So by 2013, I had attended all of those concerts. Lost my place. I played the music at every major family funeral, my wedding, births, and the like. We played it at everything. It just was everywhere. My family boasts 3 generations of love. My children and then their children, 3 generations of love of the music. It was like green eggs and ham, but with Prince, and I was having him everywhere. Amen. That's what I wrote. When I say everywhere, I do mean everywhere. My baby sister Spring, and as you guys know, don't cry for me now. These things were a long time ago, and I know that all kinds of people go through all kinds of things in their life, and that's why I want to share this with you also, is to let you know that the joy that you see and find here is, not like I had to find my way here, and the Creator is the one that brought me here. And so by you learning about how this happened, I'm hoping that you can have some joy too. That was my point. So I think I might skip over that because I told you about how we played the Play in the Sunshine at the funeral, and stuff like that. How I cried myself to sleep at the speakers with Another Lonely Christmas. And, my whole family went around and hugged and really loved our way through the grief with the music as well, and Still Would Stand All Time being my favorite, of course. It's written in both of our journals. Now here, actually, I just came to this. I can read pretty much anywhere. It'll make sense, hopefully. Reflecting back on that experience, maybe it was him trying to wake me. Though I had seen and heard the Graffiti Bridge album and movie by then, that particular song didn't stick out to me until Spring died. The song literally said, "Pick me, pick me." I listened to that song so much as part of my healing process that eventually I couldn't listen to it for a while. Neither could my sister. I was the young mother of 3 girls looking for a better way to love and lead them, and the music continued to speak. So of course I continued to listen. Having successfully traversed my first true life tragedy, there sat the solace of my Prince music without end. It would have been around this time that I began a short couple of combined years as an exotic dancer. I mention this only to say that the time spent traveling was always spent absorbing Prince music, and golly gee, guess what I danced to? The rock and roll bars. Loved it because it was Prince, Prince, Prince. Nobody ever knew what some of it was. It was my best friend. I thought it was because I knew the lyrics so well that it kept me company as well as any human. The lyrics and the music and everything, it just kept me company everywhere I went. Purple family knows what I mean. In retrospect about the music, the lyrics at this stage of my life weren't so much the reason I listened. It was the flow of the music. It seeped into my ear and slowly soaked into my brain and further into my heart and into my bloodstream. Reminiscing now, it was the first genuine love I remember feeling, and that's why I kept running back to it. There was unconditional love and acceptance in that place, and that's what the music did. Only it's more than the music, it's the Creator, and that's just the gift that he gave us, and I'm trying to give to you guys so that you can know too. Um, that went on to talk about my mom passing. So I'm going to skim that too, because obviously I use the music just so as much for that. And the headstone that you guys see on the thing is at the cemetery, and I went on to mention that. The music was there to soothe me through any day, any hour. My family, which currently consists of yada, yada, yada. I've been cutting and pasting, so forgive me. I'm trying to make a little book. I'm going to keep going because this is really one of the only ways that I can jog. Thank you, Kathy. It's really the only way that I can jog my own memory because I have so much in there. So I just want to stop and say something about myself. I am the third of 4 siblings. I have a couple of half siblings, but I'm going to speak of the 4 for the sake of saying I grew up in a very, very dysfunctional home. I mean, any kind of abuse there is in the world, it was there, you name it. I myself, as that third child, I didn't experience as much of it as my siblings and as my mother and as the world around my father. And on the flip side of that, as with any crazy person, depends on what kind of crazy you are, I guess. There was the joy of having been brought up in a life that was free. I was like semi-what free because we were outside all the time. We made a lot of our own choices. I spent a great deal of time out there in nature, singing, climbing trees, singing, swaying in the trees at the top. And, I thought I was making the wind blow. I had the siblings, but if I played by myself, I didn't really realize I was talking to the creator and the things that I used to do, but every person can still do that. It's just that, as you age and grow older, people stop doing that and they lose their imagination and all those terrible things. But it anyway, that's what I used to do. Ramble. This one. Oh, okay, sorry. I'll stay with that. So you guys, what I mean to say is when I was in that life, we spent a lot of times outside, but when I went to school, that's where the words were. That's where the teachers that seemed to love me and what I had to offer were. I always finished up my work real fast and got to do teachery stuff, and they were always trying to find extra stuff for me to do. And like I said, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but I work with what I have. I'm just saying that's how my life was. It was full of fear, though, you guys. Fear, 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 fear. I slept between the cracks of the mattresses because I was so fearful. I felt like at one point, I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, I have a memory of being, I wouldn't say attacked by spirit demons type things, but I felt like I was held down by them at the bottom of my basement stairs, and I would sleep between the cracks. The mattresses were pushed together. We girls slept in the basement. It wasn't fun. I had instance to put brown shoe polish on white shoes so that I could have Girl Scout shoes, brownie shoes. I went to bed hungry a lot. I had oatmeal for breakfast a lot, but my mom always did her best, and amen. She was a wonderful, wonderful cook. And she worked her tail off, and she took all the abuse, and everybody was so scared of my dad, they never seemed to want to call the cops. So that's kind of how I grew up in that way. And then unfortunately, as I grew older, I carried some of that. I always patted myself on the back for breaking the cycle with my own children, even though I became a young mother after becoming active at 13. Probably all that Prince music. What it was is my mom left my dad when I was 13 for doing some heinous things with my sister. And the bravery astounded me, but we all realized that we're away from what we called the devil, the man, my father. And so we ran amok. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this and this and this. And did. So not necessarily proud of it. It's just factual. It led me here today to be talking to you, so everybody has a road to travel. Um, During that young activity, obviously, I continued through school, and even when I got pregnant at 15, continued on in a school where young mothers go. And that was in the 80s, so that I don't know if they have stuff like that anymore because times are so whacked. But amen for that, because my mom had taught me tons, but we got to learn a lot there, and I got to take my girls to school with me. They picked us up in a taxi cab with a little yellow bus. And even after that stopped and they got a little bit older, in 89, 88, Brittany was born in 89, so 89, yeah, I was riding my bike to school in the snow, 10 speed. I was pregnant, I was wanted to get my diploma, and I did. So I just, nothing was going to stop me, it was too, the academics in my life had served me so well that I found out if there was something I wanted to know, I was going to find it out. I couldn't ask my dad. I mean, he rambled sometimes when he was drunk, and I think I learned from him, the harder you all, excuse me, the taller you are, the harder you fall. He loved to box and play all sports. Handsome guy. He used to be in the Air Force. He was a pilot. He flew a helicopter. Very smart. But alcohol does things. And to pay for that, my mom worked a lot. And when she wasn't working at work, she was hanging up laundry on 10 billion foot laundry line in the backyard. So I tried to lever up the best I could. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, the kids came along, you guys. 15, 16, got the diploma. I even went to college 3 times throughout the years, but I ended up dropping out because motherhood always came before scholastics and working. At one point, I was going to school in the morning, waitressing at night, and doing a mortgage job as well. So I had 2 jobs and was going to college and had 3 girls. So that's what the creator can do for you when you have the will inside you. They say free will. Everybody's given free will. Will I am. I've mentioned it before. Free Willy, like the movie Free Willy. Everybody has to free their will from the trappings of what's been out there with the real legions, you guys. It's free will. It's will I am. Fergie, will I am. His I am. Okay? So the will. So, I always try to do my best. And that was one of the things that when I stood in my life after life, and they're like, well, I earned my way to the place where I was, like Moses, you guys. It's mind blowing. I'll listen to my rabbi talk, and he'll say things that make me remember even more of what happened when I was there. And it sounds kind of vain and big headed to say these biblical huge things happen to me, but they do. And it's because of, who I am. I don't know how I got here, but it is who I am. And so until I understand it, I'm going to keep sharing it with you, and we'll get there together. Pride Piper. That's me. Thank you. I like to be the beautiful one, the righteous one. That's it. I'll take you there. That's the only one I know. How to give my personal testimony to the world, but moreover to the Creator properly. That is the delightful dilemma before me. Here I sit pondering which eloquent words to use that will properly project every truth I hold within my heart. Perhaps clutching them too tightly because they are so sacred. Hold on loosely, but don't let go. 38 special, y'all. She's a living jukebox. She really is. Except for country. Except for one special country song I know. I can't think of the name right now. Sorry. Forever and ever. This journey that I have walked, I have been told it should be shared. With the information I've been given, visions I've been shown, and memories I've been made to know that I come here to collect these thoughts. Like I said, I don't always know what we're going to run into, so hold on. I gave a slight background on myself. I told you guys before I had pneumonia when I was a baby and went to a naval hospital in West Virginia with some relatives that are no longer with us, so I can't really find out anything about that either. Everybody's deceased now, so I still don't know a whole lot about, that kind of stuff. Just a minute. Sorry, you guys. Oh, this is what I said. It was for my family that I sought to do what is right in life. This is definitely not edited. My apologies. My thought was consistently this: well, you brought them into this world. It's your job to take care of them, and you will do your absolute best capable job. That was the voice I always heard in my head, was like, my kids, they were my responsibility. And I knew that by having them young, that was weird and whatever, but I wasn't going to let statistics or situations, stop me. And at that time, I didn't know anything about like God or any kind of anything. Like, I'd heard the name, but it wasn't talked about in my house, except for the fact that my dad called himself God when we played Yahtzee. He wrote it on his Yahtzee card. As well, he would tap little kids on the head and say that was the big hand from the sky, and he was God. He liked himself a whole lot. Certain kind of confidence. Got to respect it. I guess. Love thy father and mother. Anywho's. And then went on to say that I am by no means testifying that I walked the straight and narrow and was any better at parenting or life in general than any other person. Perhaps my choices were good for me and your choices are good for you. I'm not here to compare nor justify, only to testify. Woo-woo. The thoughts and beliefs I share here are so personal and difficult to share, but I pray you are with me and are doing your best to relate. I want you to know I am of humble position. These things I hear and see and can understand are not of me, but he is. And he can be of you too, but you got to attach yourself to that and allow him to attach to you. And I talk about how the memory gets faint and, how I went to all the different churches, as I've discussed before. I was in jail for 15 days in my second drunk driving because of my mom and my sister dying. And some ladies came in and started talking the Christianity spiel about Jesus and so forth and so on. And I heard, well, golly, man, there is a power. I can feel it. And if that's something that's going to help me lead my family as a single mother, I'm going to go ahead and attach myself to it. Because that was what I heard at the time. It was the first and only thing I heard. Continued to search throughout the Christianity route, as the majority of the world has, not knowing that they're actually studying Catholicism and other such religion definitions of how to attach yourself and allow your creator to attach to you. They're never going to tell you the truth, you guys, because then they would have no kingdom. They would have no brick and mortar walls. They would have no reason to put on big white robes and black and white robes and collars and hide behind wooden things and say, you have to come in and have your sins released by me, or through this guy, or through that father, or this first lady, or that dude. You can only be a deacon if you look like this, or if you served me this long. You don't know if any of those people are serving God. Who are you serving? Man or Hashem? Anyway, I wrote, the world has not been properly introduced to their very own creator. I was introduced in 2010, though not remembering until being fully reintroduced in 2020, a full 10 years later. More often than not, I find myself rendered speechless in awe of the creator, his ability and willingness to be just what he is, allowing me to be this close and showing me just how loved I am. And he wants to show you too. That's why I'm here, shedding my skin, so that you guys can realize just how loved you are and where I came from. And you don't have to be some kind of special happy girl that drinks a lot of coffee. You don't. I came from, man, when I stood in the heavenly place, these people or souls or whatever they were that I was talking to as well with the creator, I don't know. I just said I didn't think that my life was that bad. And they all just kind of looked at me like, why are you saying that? It was pretty awful. Or like, but it was all for a reason. But I've just never been like, woe is me, because it doesn't get you anywhere. It just sticks you in sadness and depression. I mean, you have to get through things, obviously. And, I'm a different woman now in 2022, 1777, than I was in 92 when my sister passed. And, I got a phone call that said, hey, your sister just blew her brains out on a beach. No, I'm a different person. I worked my way through that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party, I don't go out. But golly, when I was in my 20s, I was out 3 times a week. My kids always came first, as I already discussed with you. But I had me a good time. I I was going to make sure and have a good time. I didn't want to miss out on anything, but then, thinking that those good times are the good times, and the good times did roll. What I thought were good times. And that is to say that as part of my journey too, you guys, I've done, thank you, Kathy. I've, done, I was never what I considered what the world would consider an addict. There's people that can go through the world experimenting with drugs and keep on moving. I'm going to try, whiskey. I'm going to try Bacardi. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Well, I'm going to try a little cocaine. I'm going to try a little ecstasy. I'm going to try a little acid. I never did shrooms, and I never smoked crack or did any of that bad stuff, but I did do acid and cocaine and, well, marijuana. That's not really a drug. That's a flower. Anyway, and then all the prescriptions that I've told you I had experience with as well, with the back surgery that I had in 04. I had a sciatic nerve pinch so bad. I weighed 244 pounds, you guys. Before I came on today, I was looking for my ID because I still have it. You wouldn't believe it was me, but it is, and it was. And I'm not too vain to say that this is a bridge. I'm sure most of you know it. I had my top 6 teeth pulled. I've been through some times and trials, y'all. I used to take dental wax and form a tooth. I used to push it up in there and just carry on with life, because damn it, nothing is going to keep me on my face. Because you know why? What I saw opposition as my whole life, as a youngster, I saw it as my father, as most children probably would. I didn't have, nobody taught me about God, Jesus, like any kind of Judaism, any kind of anything. But I knew that I didn't want to put up with nobody's crap. And so I suppose as a young woman, I was, well, not suppose, I was kind of a bitch to I was determined to have everything my way. I knew how hard I had worked my way through life. And I think one of the things I had said in heaven as well is that every year my life got better and better, and not in the ways of success and cars and clothes, because those things never really mattered to me, but in the way that I was able to provide for my family more. I was able to give my kids more, to drive a little bit bigger and better car, but not a fancy car. You know what I mean? But working for those things and earning my way there made me happy, and just not being handed them. That's the kind of stuff that builds character. And so everything for a purpose. I think I lost my train of thought again. Opposition is I saw it as my dad, but then I saw it as evil. Like after that, I was like, well, if somebody's trying to get, if you, no, let me just say this, God forbid, if I was evil and I wanted to oppress you, okay, I would loom over you like a dark shadow. And I would try to make you remember all the things that make you depressed and sad and make you want to cry, and tell you what a loser you are because you didn't get that job, or you didn't get this, or you didn't do that for your kids, or what a small presents you gave them for Christmas if you do that. You know what? My mom, when she left my dad because my sister was getting molested, she wrapped up toothpaste and deodorant that year for us. And we were used to that. I was dancing away to Purple Rain. I didn't care. It made me cry, but I cried for my mom, because I knew how bad she was hurting. So anyway, those, the opposition that tries to step into people's lives and oppress them and make them feel down, like with the grief and everything like that, you have to move your way through. If somebody molested you, God forbid, it happens like way more than people talk about. You feel like you don't want to forgive that person. You want to hate them forever. But you know what? They can't feel your hate. So guess what? All that hate that you're holding on to is oppressing you and making you feel small and making you hate yourself, because you're carrying the weight of that hate in that type of situation. You can put that in any situation. People drink their troubles away, or whatever. But and I did too. I did too. I mean, I did too. The drunk drivings, they were mostly because I was doing that job, because it was quick money, and I was trying to do the school and the other stuff too, and I had kids, and that's the only reason that happened. Um, Not like it was my life's dream or something. I'll tell you what, though, it definitely, as I've mentioned before, I don't even know with COVID if all the bars are still open, the exotic dancing bars. And I know women hate them, and they should. But what I wanted to say was that try to understand that not every female, just not everyone is like stereotypical like they show on TV. There's a lot of working moms and a lot of women putting themselves through school, and a lot more of that than there was the skankety skank. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that. I don't know if that goes on in the world anymore, but when I became that there was, and this, I'm just going to move on. When I became aware that there was a source in our world, a source for love and repair available for each of our souls, I had to seek out that source. That was what they told me about when I was in jail. In my mind and heart, there was no reason that I, Elizabeth, could not go looking for my creator, our creator. I wanted to know the higher power that made me, because I seemed to understand that that source would recognize me, and I it, since we are of the same substance. I like that. I wanted to know the higher power that made me because I seemed to understand that the source would recognize me and I it, since we are of the same substance. It was like a desire for sex, really. If those reading are inclined to understand the feeling. Well, again, I write these things, but it's what I mean to say is very here, the story will tell you. Tantalizing, wondrous, and full of curiosity I was, like you are when you're with someone you love, someone who you know has the most unconditional love and acceptance for you. The feeling that you can be as naked with your emotions as you would be if you were alone. The warmth of love. It caresses your brain, ignites your heart, fluctuates that heartbeat, slows your breathing, and your vision gets hazy. The ability to comprehend your surroundings should be in question. If you're fortunate enough to go momentarily blind to the world's reality, you're only drawn to that one source, ecstasy. It's ecstasy when you feel it, you chase it. I did. Some say it's how a drug addict feels about drugs. I believe that to be true and so beyond the epitome of sadness. Sad because I feel the world's addiction issues was a purposeful, planned substitute for just that synthetic electric god. The grandest of tricks, anyway. You guys think about it. My sister had shoulder surgery, and she did end up becoming an addict to heroin, and her daughter as well. And her daughter died from it. And her daughter's youngest daughter's father himself died to it, each within a year. My sister didn't die, the older one, but her oldest daughter, Daniela, rest in peace, Danny, died in a Quality Dairy bathroom with a needle sticking out of her arm because heroin and drugs is a dirty, dirty lie. All kinds of drugs, they're a synthetic substitute for our creator. Think about how they got developed. Think about how they protect the poppy fields. Think about the opiate crisis. Think about all that. It was purposeful, and it was to kill off and depopulate. Okay. Watch, like I said before, you guys, Dope Sick on Hulu. There's only 6 or 8 episodes. It's real short. You can smush that in one day. I know you can. I'm trying to write a bio, Kathy. It's just, it's too big. It's going to be much bigger than that. It'll have to be, I don't know, some kind of movie or something. I don't know. So as I'm reading the Bible, I was with the story and everything. The elementary way in which the creation is explained worked for me at first. The stories are minimal and kept semi-confusing, a little redundant also in the NT chapters. I'm not going to go on that because I don't even read those anymore. I was just saying how I felt about it when I did, that they were all like you would turn the page and read the same thing if you're reading the so-called New Testament, which is the new lie. Then there's that. I try to stay away from straying too far. I said, moreover, though I could understand Jesus's will and courage to die, it never made sense to me that after he rose, after the 3 days, that he was said to have passed off his power. And then, if you believe the way the Bible is packaged, God's power to 12 apostles. The way it reads, only they were given this special power to teach, heal, command demons, and build churches. And when you need an exorcism, who are you going to call? Pope Francis. What's Prince Roger's dad's name? Francis L. Anyway, the way it reads, only they were given the special power to teach, heal, command demons, and build churches. This to me was the beginning of man's idea to teach what we as souls need, that we need an intermediary between us and Hashem. And why? Money and power, of course. Now, because all people didn't have the wonderful ability to read in those days, the lesser people always find themselves relying on others for information. To me, then it makes sense that the most ancient of information was recorded on walls, in caves, on cliffs, etc., in the most remote of places. Aboriginals in Australia or Anunnaki sky gods, Gnostics, they all left traces of the other and even more important information than can be found in one Bible, as they would like us to believe. Therefore, I had to continue searching. You see, I was searching for the truth of God so I could find the truth of me. I knew if I could just connect to that I could be my best self. Sometimes I amaze myself at the words that are coming out of my mouth, and it's pretty great. And I give power and thanks to Hashem above, because I know it's only by him that I'm able to do this and be this brave. Otherwise, all these papers would just be sitting getting dusty, and I don't know, because I wouldn't be that brave. Bye, Kathy. I had to be my best self. After all, why would the Creator not want me to be my best self, but leave us with little or very confusing, limited guidance? It just didn't make sense to me. I continued to read and research through the years. And then in 2013, I got a taste of what I called my first purple time. That's when I discovered Kabbalah and started reading Taming Chaos. And then I would also put on, it says, to reiterate, 2013 was a lovely year. I could feel God all around me. I was blessed in every way. I was able to spend time exponentially growing spiritually. I called it my purple time. I called it that because, you guys, when I would meditate, I would put the music on the headphones and I would meditate. It was really like the first time in my life I did it. And by meditate, at that point, I just mean put them on and let your mind go blank from like the days, whatever, like everybody, I don't care. Like my daughter has a newborn, and all the other kids, and the other one has a newborn, and my other one's pregnant, and everybody has these things, but you have to have some Calgon take me away time, man or woman. Put on some headphones with your favorite Prince Rogers Nelson music. I'll make some playlists and add them to here, because not all music is created equal. So, and then the music just takes you away, and you don't really have to think about anything, but you think about being closer to your soul and your DNA, and let your mind wander. And my mind would go blank. And then all of a sudden I would see these, it would be like purple in the background, and there would be like black shadowy figures holding hands. So that's why I called it my purple time. It wasn't just because of purple. Because I don't think purple is his favorite color anyway. So I want to tell you guys some things about that. I don't know if you find it terribly interesting or whatever, because this YouTube channel, I try to put Prince Rogers Nelson in all the taglines, because like I said before, if you know the music, and I mean really know the music, you can't just turn on the radio and hope to hear. Like I've said before, you guys, it's not just his music, it's all music. It's how the true prophets through time, the reincarnated souls, it's who they are. They're musicians. They were made to perform under contractual duties because of their intellectual property, because of the Creator's intellectual property and duties, slave masters. I can only really remember a little bit about it from when I passed, you guys. It had something to do with how, he would say, I am music. The music, tames the savage beast. They say it gets in you. It gives you a way to free your mind from everything. So when I say meditate, that's what I mean. That's how I started anyway. And the music would just take me places. But all during that time, I was also eating my Bible alive. Like this, look, the pages came out. This one is from 1999. I got this in 1999 and I still have it. A coworker gave it to me. But then, of course, I have my other Hebrew Bible now. But I mean, it's highlighted, cried on. It's wonderful. It was wonderful. It treated me well. You guys, you have to look. I was never willing to sit back and let. I know that a lot of you might have been brought up that way. It's what your parents did, whether they drug you kicking and screaming to church on Sunday or, whatever. Or you didn't and you always wanted to go and think that you're missing out on something. Don't. Because you yourself, you can contact the Creator by contacting your soul, because that's how He speaks to you. That's how you're given direction. Everybody knows their inner voice. If you're listening to it and it's telling you something good, something positive, no matter how small or redundant, every choice, every minute, every day brings a choice. And I said it before, whether it's letting your kid walk around in a stinky diaper, God forbid, they don't want that. Just because you're too lazy to change it, change it. Do your job. You have a job, and the better you can do your job, the better the Creator can be at doing His, because then we're all rising to our best selves together, from the tiny dirty diapers to the prayers. But don't let the prayers be words. Talk to Him like you're talking to your best friend. Go in truth. Go way back if you want. Go way back to being a kid. Tell Him what your troubles are. Tell Him what you want to work on. And each day, I guarantee you're going to see improvement in your spiritual soul walk. I think the reason most people don't do it is because the world make it kind of crazy and guilty and weird, and like some kind of weird, strange burden that you should be ashamed about and have to do, or you're going to be punished and be a sinner. And I'm not sure what else, because thank God I didn't grow up that way. See, I'd rather take my inflictions in life than have grown up that way, because then if I'd had grown up that way, then I would have shed all this extra skin before I could learn all this goodness. And that's also what I was told when I passed, is that my mind was like an open slate, and He was able to and willing to, and I guess I earned and fought for this information, because I told our Creator, you guys, that we deserve it, because we need it. And what I'm talking about is not necessarily what I'm saying today, but that's part of it. I'm talking about all the Hebrew gematria and different things like that lead the investigation to be so open wide to me as well. These are divine inspirations. They are not from me. They're just not. Like, I'm just a tool, you guys. Not that kind of tool. I'm a good tool. I'm a good vessel, and you guys can be too. I don't know if it'll all be the same way, but I do know that I know enough to come here and be this brave to talk to you guys and share all this stuff with you, because the time is going to come very soon. You're going to have to decide what you believe, and I call it soul searching. It's not the way the world has sold it, and you don't necessarily have to be scared. You do have to understand that you have a Creator and you are not it. You create your universe by your choices, and I know we all have circumstances. I know we do. I've been there. Ultimately, though, the choice you make is yours, and then there's only one right choice. So if you're making the wrong one, the inner voice usually won't tell you, because He wants you to be content there. He wants you to be stuck there, satisfied there. So when you hear the inner voice pushing you to do a little bit more, when you know you're supposed to be doing a little bit more, not being so mean, not yelling, making that family dinner, whatever it is, going sledding with your kids. If you live in Cali, you can't go sledding, but whatever. You guys get the gist. And I know that if the world can believe what they've been sold, surely you're wise enough to sense the truth when you hear it and see it. That's what you're hearing and seeing here is the truth. And I pray that you're brave enough to talk to your creator, to understand that he, as the collective soul, needs you to step it up, you guys. Step it up. Be your best selves and talk to him. Don't be ashamed. Don't be scared. And be honest. All right? Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll go make a P.I.E.N.C.E video so I don't waste a good hair day. All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you for listening, really. I hope you enjoy it. Please share it. Okay? Bye. Don't forget, check it out. It's all true. Okay?